Hey guys, welcome to D-Bike. My name is Dominic and today we bought a new wheel set. Again, a new wheel set, this time for my road bike though. Why did I buy a new wheel set? Well, my old wheel set is already quite old. It has plenty of kilometers on it, I guess like 30 or 40,000. It's a Fulcrum Racing 5 LG or something like that. And from a style perspective, it certainly isn't in the top tier, so that's why I figured, well, let's buy a new carbon wheel set from China. And yeah, I contacted again Lightcarbon. If you haven't seen my video about Lightcarbon and about the history with them, I'll link it up here. So actually I broke my rear rim of my mountain bike wheels, and they kindly replaced it with a warranty rim. And I took the opportunity and thought, well, let's also buy a carbon wheel set for my road bike from them. So yeah, full disclosure, I didn't get any payment or didn't receive any discount from them. So I bought it with my own money. And yeah, when we look at the box, it looks quite solid. There are two minor dents on it. Otherwise, the packaging looks very solid. There's also like no rattling at all, so very well packed. And yeah, I'm curious what's inside. Let's unpack it. All right, what do we have here? So packaging wise, very solid. So as you can see, there is some packaging material around the wheels. So there are the wheels. Then there is a filling covered inside. And then, yeah, very solidly, nothing is moving. So it's like perfectly packed. I cannot even get it out. Probably all together. Yeah, there we go. So this is the last item from the box. Now it's empty. It's probably, I guess, filled with accessories for the wheels. Yeah. So before we look at the wheels, we have a look what's inside here, and then afterwards we check out the quality and the looks of the wheels. All right. So here we have the accessories. Let's see what's inside. So we have here some rim tape. Then we have some brake pads for the carbon rims. 2 times, so for the back and front. Another pair of rim tape. And then we have here quick release skewers. Front and rear. And yeah, that's it. So let's see. So this is the front skewer. And then for the back wheel we have the rear skewer, quick release, and then 2 pads and then 2 rim tapes. Yeah. That's it from the accessories. Sadly, there are no spokes, replacement spokes, so if a spoke breaks, then we have to buy new ones ourselves. But yeah, you will see these are Sapim CX Race, so very common, not fancy carbon spokes, which you cannot buy somewhere. So now, let's look at the wheels. Oh yeah, look at that, that's the front wheel. Some nice covers for the hubs. Very nice. Also here a cap. So as you can see, I bought wheels with TT Swiss hubs again, but this time the 350s. They're way cheaper than the 240s or the 180s. So yeah, crazy value for these hubs, super durable, not the lightest ones, but they're the workhorses. So yeah, if you look at the wheel, yeah, from this quick view, it looks really nice. Also the brake pads, the brake track, super smooth. We have some bladed spokes. These are, as I mentioned, the Sapim CX Race. But man, the finish looks really nice. And for $700, I expect worse. But yeah, as I mentioned, I already knew Lightcarbon, so I knew that they deliver high quality materials. Also, the rim, inside of the rim, super smooth. The holes for the spokes, they're probably machined, so really nice finish. But man, the brake tracks, they just look phenomenal, I would say. And then yeah, it's a U-shaped, yeah, kind of aerodynamic rim. It's 45 millimeters deep. It's not super windy where I live, so I guess I can still handle it. I didn't want to go deeper because then you're really prone to crosswinds and instability. So I guess 45 millimeters is like a good balance between aerodynamics and also weight, because obviously the deeper the heavier. So yeah, these are the Lightcarbon rims. Then we have the Sapim CX Race spokes. They're just also workhorses. They're super light. They're bladed for some aerodynamical gains. And then we have the DT Swiss 350 straight pull hubs. Yeah. So this was the front wheel. Now let's look at the rear wheel. It's also very nicely packed. Okay, so this again, rear wheel with some covers here on both sides. Yeah, so also 350s in the back. Yeah, basically the same rim, 45 in the back as well. And yeah, finish really nice. Really like it. Oh, I'm so glad I bought these. All right, so let's put the wheels on the scale. So here's the scale. Let's start with the rear wheel first. Zero the loads. And then the rear wheel comes in at 864 grams for the rear. And then the front wheel weighs 671 grams. So super light. Maybe we can weigh them together. That's a bit sketchy, I guess. Nope, works. So together exactly 1,534 grams. So for 45 millimeter deep wheels, I guess it's quite okay. Obviously they're not the lightest ones, but yeah, the hubs are a bit heavier, but they're durable for sure. They were cheap, so really happy with that. And then maybe we also measure the weight of the skewers. So the front skewer comes in at 44 grams. The rear skewer weighs 49 grams. And together it's a total of 93 grams. I actually bought some titanium skewers from AliExpress, so they're probably lighter. I need to weigh them before, but I guess I used the nice titanium skewers with some carbon levers. So yeah, really happy. I guess I will buy some branded pads because I'm not sure if I can trust those pads, because yeah, I don't want my carbon rims to blow up or to delaminate already after the first downhill. So I see if I can get some like heat resistant or more heat resistant brake pads. But yeah, super happy. Now let's go testing. Let's test the lateral flex of the rims. Let's see how stiff they are compared to my aluminum wheels. Okay, we're now in the tool shop. I brought the wheels so we can test them. But first, before we test the wheels, we quickly look at the wheels itself. We measure them, how deep they are, etc. And so we go from the rim all the way to the hub, look at all the different components. And then afterwards, we test with this custom-made jig system. We test the wheels on the lateral stiffness with my pretty old Fulcrum ugly wheels and see how they compare with each other. Okay, let's measure first the dimensions of the wheel. The outside width is 25.3 millimeters, fitting perfectly to my 25 millimeter Conti GP5000. And the internal width of the rim is 18.3. It's a bit hard to measure, probably 18.5 millimeters. And the depth of the wheels are 45.5 millimeters. So when we look at the rim is actually quite nicely machined. The spoke holes are flawlessly manufactured. The only downside, I would say, is the spoke holes. They're outside, not hidden in the rim. But from a maintenance point of view, this is actually quite beneficial. You can easily tighten them, but with the cost of not having a quite aerodynamic wheel. The braking surface is brand new, so they came up with a new composite resin for the braking track, and it can withstand a very high temperature, up to 255 degrees Celsius, I think. So the risk of delamination because of a too hot braking track is quite low, but obviously we have to see if they really hold what they promise. There's a really nice pattern machined into the braking track, which should force the water out of the braking surface, so that your braking strength should be pretty high. But I have to test them obviously in wet conditions and then can give you an update how they feel. Otherwise, the rim is pretty nicely made, so I don't see really where they mated the two halves of the wheel. So pretty nicely finished. Then when we go a bit further down, as I mentioned, the nipples of the spokes, they are not hidden. They're from Sapim, as well as the Sapim CX Ray spokes. They're aerodynamically shaped, so the flat spokes, same as on my mountain bike wheels, which I also made a video about, which you can find here. I will link it up here. I really like those Sapim CX Rays, so there are plenty available. So if you have a failure, you can basically get them anywhere in the world. They're not that fancy like the carbon bladed spokes, where you don't get any replacement because they're so custom. These are readily available, and they're one of the longest lasting spokes in the market. Never had a problem with the CX Rays so far, and hopefully I will never have. So, and then when we get further down, we have a straight pull hub from DT Swiss. This is the 350 hub. Not the lightest, of course, but pretty reliable. You can easily maintain it. And the good thing about the 350 is its robustness, but it comes with the weight penalty. However, the weight penalty is not that dramatic because the weight of the hub is in the center of the rotation of the wheel. So as you can imagine, the further away the weight of the wheel is, the more difficult it gets to accelerate the wheel. So this is moment of inertia, or the law of moment of inertia. So basically, the lighter the rim, the faster accelerating the wheel is, and basically the closer the weight to the hub is, the less impact it has on the acceleration of the wheel. Obviously, it's still weight you have to carry up the mountains, but if it's about like crit racing, where you have to accelerate and de-accelerate often, then the law of moment of inertia is quite important. And as those rims are pretty light, a bit heavier hub is not that important. Good. So now we looked at the wheels. Let's test them and compare it to those ugly aluminium wheels. So this is now the custom-made test setup for measuring the lateral stiffness of the wheel. I just clamped the wheel with the quick release skewer in this caliper. That's like a U-shaped replica of a fork. I clamped this in, and then this is now pretty rigid. I will hang a 5 kilogram weight on the side of the wheel, and obviously based on the weight, the wheel will deflect, and I will measure this deflection on the other side of the wheel, and this will then give us an indication how stiff the wheel is. So obviously the more deflection we have, the less stiff the whole wheel is. And then we compare it to the aluminium wheel, which is more or less the same weight, a bit heavier, but basically they should be in the same ballpark. However, I expect the carbon rim to be a bit stiffer. The bladed spokes are the same on both wheels. So yeah, let's measure the deflection. So I have here a camera measuring the deflection meter, or the gauge, and I will hang now the weight on it. So we have here the deflection. So one whole turn is 1 millimeter. So now I hang some weight on it, and then you see how slowly it will deflect. That's 1 millimeter, so 1.1. It still deflects a bit. Okay, we let it settle. So this is like 1.2 millimeters of total deflection. So maybe we repeat this whole procedure. So now it's at 0.9. Now the weight is fully on it. Okay, so after settlement, we have 1 millimeter of total deflection based on the 5 kilograms. And now we quickly swap the wheels, and then we test the stiffness of the aluminium rear wheel. Good, we swapped now the wheels. So now the aluminium wheel is mounted into the custom-made jig. We made this jig out of an aluminium block, and then with erosion technique we eroded the U-shape out of this block of aluminium. Good. So now we see again here the length gauge is now at 0.24 or 0.23, and we load the wheel now with the 5 kilograms. And now we see the deflection. So this is already one turn. And now we're at 0.9. So this is definitely more, nearly double the amount of deflection with the same load. So definitely much less stiff compared to the carbon wheels. So maybe you repeat the whole procedure, because now it's settled. So we're now at 50. And we have one turn. And now we are at 94. So we have 1.5 turns, which is 1.5 millimeter of deflection. So this is like 50% more deflection with the same weight compared to the carbon wheels. So this equates in 50% less stiffness compared to the carbon wheels. So pretty high difference between the light carbon wheels. Pretty happy actually that they are stiffer. Obviously we have to consider that the weight, due to the shallower depth of the aluminium wheels, so here we have only a 25 millimeter or 30, I'm not sure, and here we have the 45 millimeter depth, and this equates to a weight, like the weight is now a bit further from the center line compared to the 45 millimeter carbon wheels, which in turn increases the lever arm and thus also increases basically the forces acting on the wheel. So we have to consider that obviously, so probably the 50% is not exactly 50%. And a second point is due to the depth or the higher depth of the carbon wheel, the spokes are actually shorter compared to the shallow aluminium rim. And because we have shorter spokes, the total stiffness of the wheel is much higher because the carbon section here, or the rim section, is wider, and because of the higher width of the rim, the total stiffness increases obviously. So obviously if you have a complete disc wheel, the stiffness is much higher compared to a very shallow rim. So yeah, that's another benefit of a deeper rim section here. Okay, that was it from the wheel testing. I hope you liked the video. If you did so, then press the like button or hit subscribe if you would like to see more content from the channel. Now I'm curious, would you buy unbranded wheels from China, or maybe not unbranded, but from a Chinese manufacturer, or you rather stick to the branded rims from like well-known brands? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you have any questions about the light carbon wheels or any other questions about ordering process, etc., then also please let me know in the comments down below. See you next time. Bye.